Remember how we tried to make mozzarella and it failed miserably? Well, it made me appreciate the craftsmanship of the cheese more. So today we're gonna test out some of the most viral fresh mozzarella recipes on the internet. Starting with this lady's Italian sandwich with 30 million views.
Why do we remove the guts? Just so we can fit more inside.
Perfect.
So it's basically a caprese sandwich with pesto and prosciutto inside. And I know you guys been accusing me of purposely picking the worst ingredients. I literally just bought these tomatoes today.
What the?
Come on guys, it's not my fault this time. So to start, we'll take a piece of bread with a fairly hard crust. Slice it in half so we can start digging all the guts out. We're gonna save it, bake it at a low temperature in the oven, blend it up and turn it into breadcrumbs. Who am I kidding? I'm only saying that so you guys don't roast me for wasting food in the comments. I'm just gonna throw it away. So with the bread as gutless as me, we can start stuffing it. First, we'll do a layer of mozzarella, then remove any moldy part on the tomato, give it a sniff. We'll layer the slices in and top it off with some olive oil. The recipe also calls for some fresh grated garlic. That's what I'm doing here. A layer of prosciutto. Why is it all cut up like that? A final layer of cheese, more olive oil, into the oven at 375 for maybe 8 to 10 minutes, whenever you feel like it's done. And we're gonna bake the lid as well. We're gonna spread some olive oil on the surface, again with the fresh grated garlic. Put it right next to the sandwich, but you're gonna take the lid out before the sandwich though. After 10 minutes, this is what it looks like, all crispy and stuff. The final step is to top it off with a big scoop of pesto. Again, I just bought this today. I don't know why it's brown like that, but check out this crunchiness. Kinda looks like an ancient monument. My love language is cutting diagonally when making a sandwich. It makes it taste so much better. Let's take a look at the cross section. I feel like after removing the guts, everything is much more in place. Nothing's falling out like that, which is my biggest problem with sandwiches. And also, is this the first cheese pull on this channel?
Nice job, team.
Finally, let's give it a taste and rate it 1 through 10. If a dish is consisting of 20% or less meat, it's pretty much vegetarian, and if the animal product is not butter, it's pretty much vegan. So this is the best vegan sandwich I've ever had.
Tis the definition of sound logic.
I feel like the beauty of Italian cuisine is that all of those components taste good on their own, so you can match them up however you want. I'll give this an 8.6 out of 10, perfect for lunch. This recipe is super viral and extremely easy. I'll play the video for you real quick. Unfortunately, I had to go to Target and get this. Everybody thought this would be useful for their college dorm, but what they actually need is just some liquor. I am pleasantly surprised that this is only 11 bucks. I love when cooking equipment is cheaper than recipe books. So let's start with the simplest waffle batter recipe, consisting of 1 egg, a cup of milk that I got for myself, a tablespoon of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 cup of oil, splash of vanilla. Now to the wet ingredients, we'll add the white ingredients, which is just a cup of flour and a key bump of baking powder. As we learned from the pancake video by Tasty, fluffiness comes from an undermixed batter. So we'll let it completely hydrate by resting it for 15 minutes in the bowl. So I learned that string cheese is just low moisture mozzarella. I wonder how they make it low moisture though. Do they dry age or something? We'll stick it all the way in and start dipping them into the batter. I also plugged in the waffle maker in advance because it needs 10 to 15 minutes of heating time. You gotta organize your counter space before dipping. Give the inside a spray of oil, you can start cooking them. It kinda looks like a really tiny corn dog. In about 3 to 5 minutes, the waffle should be done, and the cheese should be a little bit caramelized too. This is my first time using one of these waffle machines. I didn't know they're non-stick like that. Let's make one with double the batter. It's gonna look a lot more satisfying. And finally, let's make a real waffle. I don't know how those chocolate chips got there. Once the waffles are done, we'll put the machine away. And as a rule of the universe, after you use this machine once, it will disappear forever from the face of the earth until you have to move. And then you're gonna have the debate of whether to keep it or not. Look how cute this little waffle lollipop is. I think it looks pretty close to the original too. So let's pull it apart and admire the cheese pull. I think it's gotten cold. Maybe this bigger piece will be better. I think we have a little bit of pull going on here. Let's give it a taste and rate it 1 through 10. It doesn't taste as good as it looks, so I'm gonna smother it in maple syrup, as waffles are created with those little gaps to catch the syrup. But after all, I think we all learned a lesson today, that a waffle with chocolate chips tastes better than a waffle with cheese, in case you didn't know that already. Speaking of stating the obvious, did you know that you can be better helped by using BetterHelp, who's our sponsor of the video? As you guys already know, the account Future Canoe is completely separate from my personal life. While in many aspects I'm appreciative of my online anonymity, but sometimes it becomes a source of stress that I don't want to talk to anybody around me about. It'd be pretty wise to seek out a licensed therapist to listen and provide unbiased advice. BetterHelp is an approachable way to start your first session of therapy. The app is easy to navigate and it helps to connect you to the right therapist based on your personalized needs. In most cases, you'll get matched within 48 hours or less after filling out the questionnaire. You're able to choose the time frame and format that's the most convenient for you. For example, I definitely don't want a face reveal to my therapist before all of you, so I'll probably go with the text or phone call option. Even if you don't feel like it's the right fit, you have access to over 30,000 therapists that you can switch to with no additional cost. So if you think therapy might be beneficial to your mental state, click this link in the description. It'll get you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp. Visiting this link may not only help me, this channel, but most importantly, it might help you. Now let's play with some rice. You ever wonder what to do with this leftover white rice? Worry no more, because we're gonna make some pan-seared mozzarella rice balls. So we'll dip our hands in some water to prevent sticking and just enclose pieces of mozzarella with the rice. As you can see here, I'm having a lot of trouble because there's too much moisture in the cheese. The rice is sticking more to my hands than to each other, so we're gonna have to change strategy. When in doubt, I can always rely on my never-ending raclette. We're gonna cut into small pieces and wrap it up like before. These rice balls are like a popular school lunch that Japanese moms make for their children. It's kind of like a struggle meal, but at least it's better than the PB&J I've been eating. So we'll shape it into a little circle like this and move on to the stove. We'll sear both sides. You don't have to worry about the color too much, because we're gonna brush on the chashu braising liquid from the ramen video. I filmed this recipe a little earlier, so it's not that old. Flip them and do the same thing to the other side. Once both of them look good and heated through, we'll take them out. Finally, we'll garnish it with some scallion and this seaweed sesame thing. And what I'm about to demonstrate to you is an accurate depiction of my life, specifically how it's falling apart. Enjoy. If I give a second chance to Kewpie Mayo, I can give a second chance to this rice ball. Why isn't it sticking? Can somebody explain in the comments? So I don't think we can judge it as a rice ball anymore, but as a fried rice, this actually has a lot of flavor, crispy texture, and the cheese adds richness to it. So I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I'm pretty excited for this recipe, hoping that it will get rid of this cheese and my rice paper. It's kind of like a simplified version of spicy Korean rice cake with homemade cheese stuffed rice cake. So we'll first cut the cheese into little strips, dip a piece of rice paper in water, and then we'll just wrap it up like a really small burrito. Fold it in twice, tug in the sides, and then roll all the way down. It's okay if it's not completely tight, it catches sauce better anyways. Let's also do some double portions with 2 pieces of cheese. As you can tell, I'm using a combination of store-bought nice mozzarella and my homemade rock-hard mozzarella. Let's prepare the sauce. If you're lazy, you can just use gochujang, but I'm gonna do a tablespoon of gochujang and the chashu braising liquid, which is, you know, soy sauce, sugar, vinegar, and everything. And let me emphasize again, it's not that old. Don't come at me in the comments. And finally, I'll do a spoonful of chili crisp. You should use gochugaru though. Mix everything till smooth. Honestly, you don't really need to. We're pouring into water anyways. So we'll very quickly sear the outside of the rice cake. You might notice that they're all sticking together, but no need to panic. Once they get into contact with some water, the rice paper will naturally separate. Once it comes to a simmer, pour in the sauce, reduce it for 3 to 5 minutes till it's thick. Again, we'll finish with scallion and this seaweed sesame thing. So here we have spicy rice cake with hidden cheese. This one the paper broke, but check out how soft and gooey it is. Does this count as a cheese pull? Or just a gravitational pull? In hindsight, I think using a plate that's in the color of institutional gray really kills your appetite. Visually, a rice cake is supposed to be red and comforting, but somehow this looks like factory food. It is so packed with flavor, this rice cake is having a hard time containing itself. Look, it's starting to drip. dripping in flavor. The texture is a lot softer than normal rice cakes, which I prefer. It's very cheesy and gooey like that. The mozzarella that I made is still hard as a rock, so it's a good contrast. This is super simple, and I think it tastes better than normal tteokbokki with cheese on top. Overall, the texture, flavor, and aroma all hit the spot. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It's dripping a lot, but so am I. Normal garlic bread is just like the person we're eventually gonna marry. It's only good on the outside, the inside's kinda boring. So here we have Pillsbury Creepy Doughboys Biscuit Tube. I love this packaging. It's like popping champagne for celebrating failures. Yay, I still suck. This is the mozzarella I made myself. Kinda looks like a brain, but feels like a rock. We're gonna cut into small pieces and wrap in between the biscuit dough like this, sealing the edges, and when you're done, just roll it into a ball shape. Repeat that to the rest of the dough, and eventually you're gonna get a little container of balls like this. And it's not garlic bread without some butter that's infused with freshly grated garlic. Mix everything together and brush it onto the dough, and then into the oven at 375 for 12 minutes. If the dough's stretchy like this, that means it's still not done. I don't know who, but a certain stupid person got excited because he thought it was a cheese pull. But we'll put it back for 8 more minutes. 8 minutes later, it looks like it's definitely done. Let's break it open and check out the inside. Besides the cheese just not passing the vibe check at all, it looks pretty good. Let's give it a taste and rate 1 through 10. As opposed to a traditional garlic knot, the texture is more on the crunchy and crumbly side. I'm gonna dip it in the rice cake sauce, and I'll apologize in advance for showing a little bit of emotion. There's no way it doesn't taste good like this. A garlic bread biscuit with cheese dipped in spicy rice cake sauce. I think we just made history. That's right, slam that kitchen counter. It's very easy to put together, and you know, a new way to enjoy the same old stuff in the fridge. I'll give it an 8.3 out of 10. A lot of great recipes today. I don't think we had any major failures. The rice balls fell apart, but it still tasted good. With a simple ingredient like mozzarella, it'll get boring if you're stuck with one method of preparation. Sometimes you just need some new techniques and method to appreciate its beauty more. Same thing goes for mental health. Getting introduced to a new perspective might just lighten your spirit up significantly. I know this video is sponsored by BetterHelp, but I genuinely hope all of you can find your own unique way to mental clarity. It warms my heart when I hear that a lot of you watches my videos before going to sleep, and my voice is able to put you at ease. Wherever you are in life, I just want you to know that I'm not going anywhere. Our community always welcomes you and has a place for you. Alright, thank you.